else is excited to see Jesse on the speaking list? Wow. I had the privilege of getting to talk with Jesse earlier this week, so I felt like he really set me up as an evaluator to really kind of hone in. I not only got the introduction, which is always very helpful, but also the outline, just kind of how you were thinking, and then really what you're wanting me to look for. So let's get right into what Jesse's asking me to look for. So the first thing Jesse is asking for is because this speech for you was a little bit out of your comfort zone and how you would normally organize your speech. I thought it was very good as far as your flow. If I had to label this speech, I think it kind of for me felt like what, so what, now what. And that's kind of how you packaged it. And I thought that was really good because it kept us kind of hanging on. And you were really focused on getting the audience engaged and making sure that they were connecting to your message because you come across so passionate about this subject. I definitely think you did that because people were taking notes, they were looking up, they were making sure that they had that, so that was really, really good. And so I thought you did great as far as having the speech be very conversational. So now let's check for the reaction. You had a very clear call to action. Does anybody remember what that was? What is Jesse wanting you to do on Sunday night? Make a list. Okay, we're going to make a list of what we spend, and then what are we going to check for? Happiness, right? How much happiness does this bring to us? So I thought that was great. So you wanted to know if your call to action was applicable? Yes, it was, because you all just repeated it back. So very good. You guys get an A+ for that. So again, I think you focused a lot on observation, and you suspended judgment, which is really good, but also hard to do when you're a subject matter expert in this world. So I thought that was very good. So the third point that Jesse, and I wanted to read this to you guys, had asked me for is, how am I as a speaker? Anything I should focus on? Do not be afraid to be honest. I can take it and welcome it. Okay, so overall it was fantastic, okay, honestly. Where I would say I tried to find three things, okay, that maybe you could enhance on, not necessarily change, but just center, really focus on it. When you first started out this speech, it was 12 minutes, okay? You got it down to 8 minutes, so you cut off 4 minutes of time. I still think one of the main areas is your transition from, you said, from what you're not going to talk about. You were like, I'm not going to talk about these three things, but I didn't catch what you were setting us up for to actually talk about, because you kind of transitioned into the book. So again, I would probably encourage you to maybe put that in your intro, even though I loved your intro, but maybe even at the end of the intro, you could have said something like, wait, hold on. This is not going to be a speech. I repeat, this will not be a speech about A, B, C. And then kind of set you up, and as you kind of transition, but this is what this speech will be about. Just as an idea of how to transition, because I think you would have saved more time. You talked about a book that you read. You go, I read this book, I didn't really like this book at first, I didn't really, because it was honest. But I knew what the book title was. I don't know if anybody else caught what the book title was. So just maybe make sure that if you're going to reference that and you encourage people to read it, that they know what it is. And then the last thing I'm going to take from Connie's textbook is let your questions land. Because I think when you are trying to get audience engagement and you're asking very punted questions, just pause. I think you were trying to hurry because you had so much information. But overall, you did great. And if I had to paraphrase your speech, I found this quote: happiness doesn't derive from location or material possession. It derives from a higher state of consciousness. Fantastic.